Welcome to this week's question. What to do about working from home? Now, the global pandemic has created the largest social experiment that we'll probably see in our lifetime. And there will be lots of books and articles and PhDs written on the impact of working from home. But we're going to go back to 2015 when there was a working from home study at trip.com conducted by Nicholas Bloom and his colleagues from Stanford University. And what they found was that the pilot group's productivity increased by 13% when they worked from home 4 days a week, the other day in the office. This grew to 22% when the rollout was expanded across the organisation. The participants reported improved job satisfaction and their attrition rate halved. They did, however, have a lower promotion rate. Okay, let's fast forward to today. Management is now saying that they want their employees back in the office. This is being led by Amazon, who are mandating all employees return to the office 5 days a week. They are doing this so that everyone is working together. It creates this collaborative environment, which is important for Amazon's innovation, and they want to maintain their company culture. The message is, if staffers don't agree with this new policy, they can simply leave. I wonder what culture Amazon leadership thinks it's maintaining. So, when we're asking the question about what to do about working from home, we also need to think about, well, who needs to change? Is it the employees, the people, or is it management? We can start addressing this through 3 factors. The first is we need to do a culture check. Secondly, have we got intrinsic motivation? And finally, we got to look at trust and the bottom 1.7%. Okay. First, let's start with culture. Now, most organisations have a bureaucratic culture, complete with command and control. And we're seeing this in those calls for returning to work, being in the office 5 days a week. But we can also look at a different set of leaders. Now, Jay Lorsch and Emily McTagg point out in their HBR article that culture is not the culprit. What they have done is shared case studies of 4 CEOs who used a set of levers to create the culture they want. What they did was they decentralized decision making down to the front line. They implemented transparency, streamlined business processes, and they improved their relationship with employees. The resultant culture was one of being customer-centric, cooperative and connected business units, collaborative and independent workforce, and mutual loyalty and trust. To understand how this works, we can use Signal Road's integral map for organisation to show the connection from actions of people and what we build through to culture. Let's start at culture. Culture is internal to the group. It's how the group thinks. And here we can map Westrom's topology of cultures, going from pathological, power-orientated, through bureaucratic, rules-orientated, to generative, performance-orientated. And as discussed in previous weeks, the culture is created by how the organisation is structured, the processes and the systems. Now, our operating setup is actually built through the actions and behaviours of management and employees, and this behaviour comes from the way we individually think. Are we self-centric? Or is it you and me, a zero-sum game? Or is it about all of us? Telling employees to accept the new rules or leave is a zero-sum game. The CEOs in our 4 case studies, they exhibited the thinking of we. So we can actually now retrace our steps from the thinking to the behaviour to the implementations to what culture we create. By operating at the outer generative circle, we create intrinsic motivation. Let's dig deeper into that. Frederick Hertzberg found that there are two sets of factors in the workplace: motivators and hygiene. His key point is that poor hygiene factors causes dissatisfaction, but you can't use hygiene to create motivation. Intrinsic motivation comes from achievement, worthwhile work, growth, responsibility, all the things our 4 case study CEOs implemented. Taking away motivators doesn't make us dissatisfied. It just makes us check our brain at the door when we dutifully start our assigned tasks. This is not good for working from home, and it doesn't change if we simply return to the office. We need to implement the factors that create intrinsic motivation. Finally, we have trust and the bottom 1.7%. Now, at the start of the pandemic, management were worried. They were wondering, will employees work as hard at home without our direct supervision? This actually changed to they started to worry about their employees because they were working too hard as they got on with the job. Susan Legena, the CEO of Plan International Australia, in our interview with her late last year, provides a great example of this.
And what really shifted is, I think they always knew they could do it. It's just we were busily controlling and monitoring and evaluating. And what we learned is that that can all be done on the ground by the people who are already there. They were already doing it anyway. What changed was the dynamic and the relationships. And so what happened afterwards is, I think some of our team would have loved to just go back into the way we used to work, but our teams wouldn't let us. And I think that was really powerful. They didn't want to go back to the way it was before. It was a very uneven power structure, and I think they're pushing even harder that it gets shifted even more to them. So I think it was an incredible intervention that really did shift something very fundamental.
Thank you, Suzanne. Now, what Suzanne describes is an example of Beyond Budgeting's leadership principles 3 to 6. The team were given autonomy. They were organised as an accountable team. This connected them with the customer, and all of which was supported by transparency up and down the organisation. As Legena explains, they have not looked back. But in this environment, there'll always be the slackers, the 1.7% that will do the wrong thing. This is why, having autonomy, we also then need the transparency, the accountability, the alignment to the customer. Structured in this way, the 1.7% will be pulled back in by the rest of the team. We don't want to punish everyone just because of a small percentage. All right, to summarize what to do about working from home, well, we need our culture to be suitable for working from home. We need to have intrinsic motivation, and finally, we need to be in that generative culture with the right setup to build two-way trust and to expose the 1.7%. Thank you for watching. We hope this has been useful. On our YouTube channel, Unlocking Chains, there's much more detail, including the full interview with Suzanne Legena, and we hope to see you next week. Thank you.